Welcome to Hospitality Folks, a podcast about the people behind great hospitality. I'm your host, Alicia Wahlberg. Join me as we talk with hotel teams, managers, and operators about hiring culture and what it really takes to build teams that perform at high levels and stay. Hey folks, welcome back to Hospitality Folks. I'm your host, Alicia Wahlberg. This week we're talking with Charlotte, a French pastry chef. Charlotte helps secluded resorts, lodges, and boutique hotels elevate their dessert offerings through tailored, on-site French pastry training. In this week's episode, we dive in with Charlotte on her career path as a pastry chef and how to find your confidence. I am so excited to welcome you to Hospitality Folks, Charlotte.
Thank you very much. So I'm a French pastry chef and I teach pastry in remote lodges and camp, mainly in Africa, but I'm really open to any country in the world. And so I give these teams really basic pastry skills, adapt to their local culture to improve their offer.
Could you maybe talk through when you thought you wanted to be a pastry chef and the steps it took you to actually become one?
Yeah, definitely. So I always knew I loved pastry, like baked since a child. I even have pictures of myself with chocolate all over my face. So it was always something. But at that time when I started school, I was a pretty good student. And so the traditional path of pastry didn't seem like enough for many teachers and some people of my family. So they pushed me on a more like regular kind of studies that I absolutely hate after only 1 year. So then I swapped for the more traditional hospitality stuff with a first diploma. And after some work placements, I reconsider my career path. And so I just quit again hospitality to work in real estate for 6 years. So way different. And then after that, I lost my dad pretty young and I just realized that was definitely not what I wanted to do. And so I went back again to hospitality where I'm here now. And I'm really happy with that last decision to come back to pastry.
You had quite the experience of knowing early on what you wanted, being told, no, like, you're too smart, don't do that, essentially. But you still found your way back to where your passion is calling you. There's hospitality people and there's not hospitality people. Clearly, you're one of them. When you were building your careers prior, the in between time, what skills did you learn that you now were able to bring over when you started your own company?
So first, I've never stopped baking. During this time, even if I was an employee in real estate, I was baking daily and I even had a YouTube channel in French where I was sharing a recipe per week. So I was really attached to pastry and real estate, like taught me a lot of different things. First, I learned a proper English in that work that is really useful today. But as well, I meet different people from different culture. I learned how to have a global vision on different things, like working as well with companies on construction sites that are mostly managed by men, allow me to affirm my position as well in my work. And that's like skills that I'm using now as well in the kitchen. And yeah, I think that's all.
If someone wanted to follow your footsteps and take that leap to become a pastry chef, what did that process look like for you?
So you can do way easier than what I did. In France, it's a really simple diploma that is called a CAP in 2 years. So it's basically a part of the time in school and a part of time in a work placement. I didn't do that directly. So I did first a 3 years general hospitality where I learned every single job in the hospitality industry. Then I had a superior diploma, but just in like relationship and customers management. And then 1 year of this pastry diploma that I did only in 1 year because I had the 3 years before. So I did quite a long one, but you don't have to do that many different qualifications to achieve it.
Absolutely. Now, you just said a bit ago about how working with construction sites really prepped you for working with mostly men. How has that prepped you in the kitchen side of hospitality?
So Kitchen is mainly run by men nowadays, even if it's changing, of course. We start seeing women chefs as well, but it's still mainly men. And especially in the country I work with, in those remote environments, men doesn't work a lot in those places and as well in the kitchen. I learned how to be surrounded by male and not be scared to just say what I have to say sometimes. I cried a lot as well because some of them were not really easy, especially when you are a student, when you are really young. Like when I started, I was not able to say things. I was just shy. I was just impressed by those men. So yeah, then years after years, you build this confidence. And now I'm really like seeing myself as an equal. Everyone has skills. Maybe they are different. Maybe some people has more skills, but that's fine. Like um, you are not weaker. I don't know if I can say that. You're not weaker than anyone else, even if it can be impressive.
I feel like that's a beautiful message for especially young women who are wanting to start their careers in the kitchens and hospitality, and to just have the confidence that you deserve a spot in there too.
And sometimes you just have to pretend as well. You don't have the confidence, but you have to pretend for things happening, for things to happen. And yeah, just pretend can work as well on the beginning.
Fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
Now, you have quite a range of continents that you work with and countries. Have you noticed a difference in how you're treated as a female, let's say in Europe versus Africa?
Yeah, definitely. The female place, I think, in the culture and as well in the country is way different. So I don't know if it's only in the kitchen or outside of it as well, but there is more respect, and I can see it as well with the other women working in the camp. Everyone is equal in the workplace. And even if sometimes, like, of course, men's will still be men's and be more like picky with some things you are doing, there is still this respect, and there is no like all this yelling stuff and yeah, that we can encounter in Europe, in my opinion, of course. And I feel really like well surrounded with them, really part of the team. There is no question about me being a woman here. I'm just here to pass skills and taking as much as they can. So I think I really enjoy working with those teams because you can see what you're teaching them will really be useful.
Absolutely. Now, when these hotels or resorts reach out to you from Africa or from Europe, what are they struggling with and what are they hoping that you can help them with?
So, especially in Africa, most of the employees didn't have a proper education. They are self-taught for most of them. So even if they are doing a really good job, sometimes the lack of organization or specific skills that are expecting guests. So they are really specialized in their own food, their own spices, culture, and everything. But when guests are visiting, they're expecting a certain kind of level, especially in pastry. And as French pastry is well known everywhere, like for the taste, the refinement, and everything, we really focus not only on of bringing French pastry to them, but more the techniques and the skills for them to use them in the desserts, but as well in other area of their work.
How have you noticed the confidence level in a team when you first start working with them until the day that you leave them?
That's amazing. So first, when I explained them the program, they're like, no way, we can't do that. That's too difficult. I've never heard about this. Those like new tools, how can I use them? And at the end, when they see they're actually able to do it and they taste the cake, they like it, and they have the feedback as well from the guests, that's wonderful. You can see on their face, like the moment they realize, I've baked that. And it looks like the picture she showed us on the start. So that's pretty amazing. And I love receiving as well feedback from the guests when I'm on the camps, but as well feedback from the teams when I leave. They can send me texts, pictures of their work. And yeah, it's really good to see the evolution as well.
How have you so you talk about the guest as well. In your experience with the teams you worked with, how have this time with you, this trainings with you really impacted guest experience?
So I would say it's pretty easy to notice because when guests are doing a safari, they are visiting different camps during their stay. So from one camp to another, it's really easy to compare and to see the big difference between but they know those techniques. We never saw this technique in any other camps we visit. I think desserts is just the end of the dinner, of the lunch. For me, as I love it, of course, I'm not fully impartial here, but it's really hand your meal with this memory, especially when you're outside with the fire pit, you can really create an atmosphere with it. And if the dessert is good, people will just leave with, oh, that was amazing. From start to finish, everything was on point, really tasty, really refined. Definitely something we can compare from what we have at home. And that's the big thing.
I might be biased. I am definitely a desserts and pastry type of person. And growing up in the US and then coming even to Germany, the level of pastries, bread, and desserts in a normal bakery is so much higher than what you find in most places in the US, unless you go to somewhere specialized. But it's one thing I've noticed as I've traveled. I do judge locations on their pastries and desserts. And it can have such a big impact on me. So I completely understand what you're talking about. And I think even my 4-year-old son would say the same thing.
Yeah, because you have pastry everywhere, from breakfast to lunch to dinner. There is always a way to enjoy something, not only sweet, but yeah, something related to pastry.
Absolutely. When a hotel gets it right, what changes do you notice, not just for the guests, but really for inside the team themselves?
So I'm really lucky to have wonderful clients, and you can really see the how the teams feel about their employer as well. They are really happy to have the chance to improve their skills, and they stay longer. Like the impact is huge. I have some chefs, they are working in the same company for 18 years. That's crazy. Like, because they are evolving, they are moving between different camps. They are never bored of their work. They have the possibility to evolving inside the same company, training new employees in as well. So you see how happy they are to work for this company and to give their best as well daily to serve the guests and make sure they have a wonderful stay. So for me, that's the best indicator.
And that is a huge win. I mean, I'm literally at ITV this past week, in 2026. I was talking with so many hoteliers, and one person who's in the hospitality tech area, he was telling me he was shocked to hear that this location Brazil had a turnover of 70%. I'm like, yeah, that is as an industry what we're looking at. Of course, there's some outliers who are lucky to have like between 0 and 20%, but the norm is sitting around 40 to 70%.
That's
And so
huge.
having these trainings with you to really build up these skills, gain confidence, and to build that team atmosphere is also what you're doing, can be a
Yeah.
huge win.
And people are definitely feeling seen as well, and that makes a huge difference.
Absolutely. If another woman is listening and wondering whether she's allowed to choose a path like yours, what would you want her to know?
Please go for it. You can definitely be the change you want to see in an industry. So, of course, it feels scary. Of course, it will be difficult at some point. But being a woman doesn't mean you are not capable of doing things. Of course, in some areas, it will be more difficult, especially the ones that are like mainly men around. But if you surround yourself well with women, men, just the right person, and you can start with the right partner as well to support you in your success in your career, you can do anything, like really.
Absolutely. Now, if another woman is listening, she's curious about your path, or a camp or hotel team is listening and they feel curious about working with you and to bring you in to support their own teams. What's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
So they can have a look on social media, mainly on LinkedIn or Instagram, or they can directly reach out by email. And then I will be more than happy to answer and see how we can work together.
Absolutely. Now we'll keep your information and the description so that way you can find Charlotte and get in contact with her. Thanks for listening to this week's Hospitality, folks. A big thank you to our guest Charlotte for sharing her journey from real estate to the pastry kitchens of France and around the world. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to follow the podcast and share it with someone who loves food and hospitality as much as we do. See you next week.